Frank. So great to see you. How are you?
Thank you, Bonnie. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, listen, congratulations on so many years of playing Toopy. But I want to ask you before we get to Toopy, I got a question for you. So here
Sure.
you are, 20 odd years ago, successful puppeteer. You're doing your job. You're having a good time. You're getting some good gigs. Toopy comes along. How did that happen?
Well, if we had 3 beers and more time, I'd tell you the whole sordid tale. But in a nutshell,
We can do that at another time.
yeah, sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
I did 7 voices for a series called Dragon, which was a little stop motion series based on Dave Pilkey's or Dav Pilkey's stuff, the same guy who did Captain Underpants.
Yes.
And, it was a beautiful show, and it kind of did all right. And so they said when they were looking for voices, they said, get that guy who does all the voices on Dragon. So I went in because of that. And they showed me this picture of Toopy, which he was like a whistling mouth. They didn't have any animation, right? It was just book form at that point.
Right.
And I saw his face and I was like, what's in that guy's head? What sound is he making? And I ended up going sort of like I got to find the energy here. Sort of that, sort of a Tiggery kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it became the hinge where it all kind of just bust out and never went back in. So, and the notion too that he's the only speaking character in this duo meant that he had to speak with vigor.
So the whole time Toopy talked, it was at 11 out of 10.
And BINOO is just a delightful reactor. It's just like, oh, well, I guess so. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go along with my pal, like no problem,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
says.
yeah,
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, because I have 2 boys growing, like, well, they're a lot older now, but we used to watch the show, and I gotta say, like, I mean, that's the one thing that struck me. He's got so much energy. He's only got characters to play off of him. How do you construct that in your head that keep up that voiceover energy? It's hard, especially when you're not working opposite somebody.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of a solitary way, so I love to, like, there's always something going, some pictures or stories going on or voices in my head,
Yeah.
which in certain times could be diagnosed as an illness and at other times is a real advantage. So I kind of tried to make sure that Toopy was rounded enough. I mean, he's always 11 out of 10, but he always takes the time to, after introducing himself, he introduces his best friend ever, BINOO. He's got kind of he keeps BINOO in the picture with him, even though he's in his mind the leader, though plainly BINOO's the brains of the outfit.
Yeah.
And I was saying in an earlier interview that BINOO is actually enormously popular with a huge cross-section of the intended audience because BINOO is the child and Toopy is the adult, even though he's a lunatic, right? He's the one who's, we're going shopping. And it's like, oh, I guess I'm going shopping. So it's pretty cool that kids identify with both characters, and in a way you can get a sense of what kind of child a kid is by asking them who they like more.
That's interesting. Doing this had to have been very satisfying, very gratifying, as doing, whether you're live on stage or doing animation or whatever. When you're making kids happy at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Frank, when did you know? I mean, the success of this show, and now hence we have a film, obviously. When did you know that they had struck gold, that people were, or kids were really identifying with these characters?
Boy, I don't know if anyone knows that. I don't think there was an exact moment, but it just continued to build momentum.
Yeah.
And I've worked on enough stuff that I generally know that shows have a shelf life. They come out and say, oh, big splash, here's a thing, and it's these guys, and this is happening, and then it's on at the less popular hours, and then it kind of is, and then it goes away.
Right.
And Toopy just never stopped. It just kept going and going. And I think it has something to do, Bonnie, with the colors. It's a real great palette. I think the storytelling is just weird enough and off center enough to be interesting for kids and to adults to some extent as well.
For sure.
I like to think the voice had something to do with the show's success. And I think there's nothing else on air that's really like it. And I think that might be part of it as well. The fact that it comes out of Quebec, I think, is an interesting point not to be missed, because there's Quebecers have a different sensibility. Like the humor of the show is different than Alberta or Ontario humor. It's a little zanier, it's a little more Canadian.
100%.
Yeah, and I think that really works for the show, you know.
Yeah.
Dominique Jean and Raymond Lebrun, who are Dominique's the creator and Raymond is the I guess the head artist. They really brought that sensibility to the series and to the movie, and that's what makes it I think have legs, and it makes it popular across a broad cross section of ages. Like a lot of kids who watched the series originally are now they're young adults. Maybe even they have kids of their own, and I understand they want to come and see the movie, which is pretty cool. So it has a
Yeah.
nostalgia factor as well, you know. So kind of it's a loop, an endless loop of interest. There's new kids who haven't seen it, who their parents say you should watch this. It's pretty neat. I watched it. And then there's kids who are adults now who go, oh man, I remember this. I'm going to check it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. Good nostalgia. There's it's for the parents. Exactly. When you were, when they approached you for the film, it's a longer format. Obviously, it's not like a 22-minute episode. We have a whole story to tell here in an hour and a half. Is it more challenging for you, or do you still just do it piecemeal? Or tell me a little bit about working on this really fun film.
I think the big difference for me, Bonnie, was that there were a lot of other characters involved.
Right.
Toopy holds for a 2-minute or a 5-minute or a 15 or 20. I'm not absolutely sure that Toopy could do a 70-minute film just with Binoo, you know? Yeah, arguably, but at the same time, having all these other characters that you can see here. Oh, look at them all. There they are.
Yeah, it adds dimension for sure.
Absolutely. It adds dimension and depth. And then, kids go, oh, that's my favorite. I like that guy. And I liked when this guy fell on it in the lake or whatever. So the film was different from the series in that the pressure was different for me. It was like we had one sound studio broken into 5 sort of booths so we could all look. I think we could look at each other actually over top of these things, but they had some kind of sound insulation between us. And we just went through the script line by line with a slightly unnatural pause between each character's lines so that they could, assemble it how they needed. And what that meant was that I didn't have to talk all the time. And when we did the series, we'd go in and I can work very fast. But at the end of a 4-hour call, my head was like this big. It's just like
Pushing all that air out through my head was
exhausting. So it was great that Toopy would do a thing and then some other people would talk for a while. It was in a way, it was a little bit less strenuous than doing the series.
Yeah, I can imagine having that interaction helps for sure. No question about it. After all these years of playing Toopy, how do you relate to this guy now? Is he you? Are you him?
Well, actually, can I just a quick question, Bonnie? Who's your audience for this interview?
Well, it's a broad audience because we have TV, we have radio, and we have internet, we have websites. So it's pretty broad, but not, for the TV, probably more of the kid, like the parents would be watching, I think.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that we don't, if it's for kids, I don't want to get too.
Oh yeah, no. It's not specifically for kids. No, it's aimed at the grown-ups, I would say, who hopefully have kids and they will take them to this movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now I've managed to, you were asking me if Toopy has become, well,
Yeah.
Toopy started off as just, when I went to the audition, I had to find a sound that was the right sound.
Right.
And curiously, I tried a bunch of stuff and I remember very clearly, Dominique Jean, the creator of the series, at that point, it was in book form only. She was on the other side of the glass, you're in this little glass house and people are out there and they talk and you can't hear them. So I'm trying to read the room. Like, what are they looking for? I was trying stuff. All these crazy things that I thought were effective. And they were going, yeah. I thought, well, I'm never going to get this if I don't try something off the, out in left field. So I looked at this drawing they had of Toopy, and he had this sort of whistle mouth on him. And I thought maybe he's got that kind of a, which is sort of a Tigger sound.
Yeah.
And that was the hinge that kind of opened it up, and it all came out and it never went back in. So over time, Toopy became more of flights of fancy that I would have in my own mind based on the script or fun ideas that I had. And they often made the cut on the series, which was pretty cool, meaning that they made it to the final version. And they were open to that, which was pretty terrific. So some of, a piece of Toopy is definitely coming out of the part of my brain that is restless. And I think there's a little Pee Wee Herman in there probably, and maybe a bit of Barney when he gets sentimental, and certainly some Tigger in there as well. But my ability, if you can say I have one, is that I'm a terrible impersonator. So sometimes I'll hear a voice in my head that someone does, and
Right.
my version of it is abstracted enough from the original that it's its own thing, even though in my mind I'm sounding just like, yeah, Edward G. Robinson, see? Yeah, it's not really very good, but it's
Pretty good. I have to say that wasn't bad at all. That wasn't bad at all. Just before we wrap up, I got to ask you this question because, like I said, pre-Toopy, I mean, you have had a great career as a puppeteer, and now you've worked with so many amazing people, like whether it was a Sesame Street or Fraggle Rock or Spielberg or whoever else that you've been working on their films. Do you have a career highlight, a memory that stands out for you?
Well, it's got to be Toopy right now because of what we're doing here today, Bonnie. But since probably looking for something else, I worked on Strange New Worlds, the Star Trek series, and I'm an old
Okay.
Trekkie. So that pretty much, my wife thought I was insane because I'd wake up every day just smiling, and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I'm going to go work on Star Trek." And so that was pretty cool too. But
Yeah.
and you know what? I am so lucky. I get paid to play for a living.
Right.
And whether I'm working on Bride of Chucky or TOOPY and BINOO or Star Trek, it's just playing, and it's huge fun and massively gratifying. And I keep waiting for someone to go, him, get him out. He's just playing. But it
Nah,
hasn't happened yet. So every day I get to work is a great day. These interviews are huge fun for me because it keeps me on my toes and it makes me think. And
amazing.
and in articulating, in answering the question, I have to answer in a way that is not just instinctual. Like if I'm puppeteering, it's instinctual. But if I have to tell someone why I'm making those choices, it becomes really introspective and interesting.
Well, I thank you for all the fun that you're bringing us for all the over the years and to the kids, and it's just been amazing. And what a delight being able to talk to you this morning, Frank. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck with the movie. I mean, we could have hundreds of these coming out. You just never know, right? Toopy
I'm
forever.
counting on it, Bonnie. I want season 2 and 3 and the films 1 through 9, and then the trilogy set, and then the Criterion version. It's going to be awesome.
Well, possibilities are endless, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bonnie. Have a great day.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, Red.